is the current trend, call it the Reddit trend or the GameStop trend, where low-level investors are investing in the market and changing the actual prices via the stock market of companies, of stocks, does that have an impact upon how we understand our wealth and the thresholds that are needed to pay zakat? Now, you might not have understood that question, but let me make it simpler. You would have seen before in previous videos and also just in general knowledge that when you give zakat, you have an option to use the gold or the silver threshold. The gold threshold is very high, and so most people wouldn't, well, not most, but many people wouldn't pay zakat if they use the gold threshold. But if you use a silver threshold, you only really needed to have a couple of £100. And then after that, you're going to have to pay zakat, which means virtually every single person is going to end up paying zakat. One of the fascinating things that's happened in the last few weeks is that the investors or the basic folks, the normal people, have hit back at the criminal activities of Wall Street and the big time people who short stocks. Now, I don't want to blow your brain here. If you're not into investments, then this is going to be, this is going to turn you right off. So let me just say, put it this way. They are artificially manipulating the market, making corrupt profits and gains, the big players. And so how the empire struck back, okay, to use a Star Wars analogy, is that the low-level people started to identify certain stocks, certain commodities, certain assets, certain companies, and just go right behind them. Not necessarily because they have an affinity or a reason to, but just as an act of revenge. And as a result, with such a huge interest of everybody, small level buying those particular shares and stocks, it creates hype. That speculation then leads to, the price is going to keep going up. More people get involved. Price rockets. Lots of people start making money if they're selling at that. Others then start to panic, and then they start to sell, and then the price then drops hugely as well. You can't depend upon speculation. That level of instability is too uncertain to create the kind of investment environment that we should be getting involved in. And that's obviously, in pure best of those students who have taken that with me know that that's one of the problems with day trading and trading in companies that have a lot of speculation in them. But in any case, that's for another class. In our zakat class, what we need to discuss, and for the question right here, if we choose the silver threshold, well, you would have known if you've been following the Reddit forums and the people who went into GameStop and AMC and BlackBerry and the other kind of companies that they went behind, silver was also one of these as well. And the silver price rocketed. It rocketed by 30%. That actually means that a person now, if a year ago, a person who is using the silver threshold only needed to earn less than, only needed to have 250 odd pounds, 260 pounds, and then they had to pay zakat. Now, because the silver price has increased due to the speculation, it now is 370, 380. It's increased massively. Theoretically, the people who deserve zakat have missed out, and there'll be less people that will pay zakat. Now, I know that most people have more than this money anyway, so they'll end up paying zakat. I get that, but let's look at this at theory, because there's a learning point and a teaching point. Do we need to go by the high speculated price of the stock market? And what I want to say is that if that is the actual price of silver, then that is what it is, and that's what the threshold will be based upon. However, we don't base thresholds upon a theoretical stock market price. And this is a mistake that we might make with gold and in normal times where there's no speculation as well. You have to depend upon the market price. The market price for silver and gold is what you will actually receive if you took it to a shop, if you tried to sell it. Not the theoretical, day trader people playing on computers like as it was some kind of game. Not the artificial price, but the real price. For that reason, if we had silver and we took it to the local jewelers and they said, that is how much we're going to give you for it, that's how much the price is per gram, that's what we're paying, we're ignoring what they say, this is the real actual price, that would be the threshold price. So the answer to this question is that it doesn't matter how much speculation lifts the price of a stock or a commodity or silver, in our case for zakat. We will look at what the jeweler will give. And this is something important for all of us when we take the gold of our women. I'm saying that because I hope there's no men who are carrying gold like that. But the jewelry and those who believe that the opinion that it should be paid upon. That's something also we will discuss in the class, what the reality about that is. That we should depend upon the jeweler's actual real price in person, the market price, to determine our zakat. And of course, more details, juicy details on this and much more in our upcoming zakat class. And I'll see you for that online. Jazakumullah khair.